Okay, back to our engineering lessons on Excel. This one we're going to investigate something called conditional formatting. You can see on the home menu here, conditional formatting is a drop down here, and it has some stuff. We're going to look into that. We're going to pick up using our BMI page, and we're later going to go back actually to the free response and multiple choice grader page. And what we want to do here is we want to set this up so that we can change these values here to look at a range of figures, and it'll actually color code these results according to the way BMI works. And again, BMI below 18 is the condition they call underweight, 18 to 25 normal, 25 to 30 is referred to as overweight, and above 30 is referred to as obese. My prior video goes into some details about BMI if you're interested, but we're going to focus on the Excel part of this right now. So the first thing about conditional formatting is it does what it says. It changes the formatting of a cell based on conditions. Formatting being the color of the font, the size of the font, whether it's bold or subscript or superscript. You can change the background color. You can change all this stuff. You can put borders around it. You can even change things like whether it's displayed in percent or dollar based on conditions of the spreadsheet. And those conditions can change, and the format will change. So conditional formatting. The first and most important thing I have to tell you about conditional formatting is that the best way to use it is to start by selecting the cells you're going to apply it to. And a lot of people make this mistake. They're like, oh, I want to do some conditional formatting, and they immediately go up and start clicking around in here. That is an error. The smart way, the way you should always do your conditional formatting, is start by highlighting the cells you want to apply it to. And I just want to apply it to these. I'm not going to apply this 18, 25, 30 stuff to the heights or the weights. It's to the actual calculated BMI. So I just selected those cells. So select the area you want to apply it to. Click this down arrow to start the sort of wizard thing. Now in this case, you can see there are a lot of options here, but we're just going to do the top one. We want to highlight certain cells in here, in this range, in a certain way. And to start with, what we want to do is highlight only those cells that are less than the value 18. So click down arrow here, highlight cells rules, less than. You click that, and a dialog box comes up. It's a fairly simple dialog box. It just simply repeats format cells in this range that are less than some value. Now, it always makes a guess about what value you want to do, and I don't know where it gets it from. There's not a 23.1 on this page that I see. So I have no idea where it came up with 23.1. Now, you could, in this case, type in 18 and say OK, and this would work just fine. But I want to show you, because it's more powerful, to actually have it be able to format cells based on a value that's elsewhere in the spreadsheet. So while you can always just type in a number here, you can even type in an equation. You could make this 17 plus 1 if you wanted to, and it would probably work. But the smart way to do this is to actually go and click on this cell. So now if I find out later they changed the guidelines for BMI, I don't have to go into my conditional formatting and make the change. I can just change this number on the page, and it'll automatically adjust. So formats any of these cells that are highlighted are less than this value, whatever's in that cell D2. What format will we give them? Well, that's what's over here. And it has some default ones built in. Light red fill with dark red text, yellow fill with dark yellow text, green fill with dark green text, just a fill, just a text, just a border in red. But you can also do custom. And I want to do custom in this case because I want to reserve green for normal and yellow for overweight and red for obese. So what I want to do here is I want these to be blue. So since blue is not a pre-built option, I'll choose custom format. And you can see there's all kinds of stuff you can change. Like I said, you can have it change whether it's how it's displayed as as text, as a date or time with dollars in it, like currency, all that kind of stuff. But we're just leave that alone. We don't want to change what kind of number presentation we want. We do want the font to change. We're going to change the color of the font. And you click this and it brings this up, and these are your standard colors. You actually could, if you wanted to go in and create your custom colors, or you can pick these custom colors here, but I'm just going to click the down arrow here and just choose the font to be this dark blue here. You can do anything you want, but I'm going to choose that dark blue. So I'm going to use a dark blue font. And then fill. By the way, you could also have it change the border, but I'm not going to do that right now. You can change fill. And that's what the background is like. And again, lots of options here. You can have it do patterns in the background if you want. It has options there and colors for that. We're not going to do that. And you can do more colors just like before where you pick standard colors. You can create custom colors, but we're not going to do that. We're simply going to have the fill, the background, be this light blue color. So I just selected that light blue color right there to be my fill. So the font of anything less than 18 in that range will have a dark blue text with a light blue fill. And I'll say OK. And it gives you a preview. That's another interesting thing. You get a preview of this down here. So all of these are the cells that are less than D2, and they are in this custom format with the blue background and dark blue text. And I say OK. But I'm not done with what I wanted to do here. This is only doing the less than 18. So while I still have this all selected, I'm going to add a second set of rules. This is how conditional formatting works. It works on rules. It uses a rule that you write to determine the format. The rule is the condition. And so in this case, again, we're going to do highlight cells rules. And this time we're going to go between. So we're going to choose between. And when you go between 18, or rather what's in cell D2, and click over here, this cell. Oops, well, that didn't delete the 27. So let me just backspace until this is empty, and now click that guy. There we go. So it'll go between whatever values in this cell to the values in that cell. And again, this is doing red. I don't want red. We click this. We actually want to do a green fill. So we do that. And we say OK on that. And so now there you go. That's the what it calls normal range in the BMI, between 18 and 25. If I were to change these numbers, it would highlight differently. But I don't want to do that right now. I want to keep all of this selected because I'm not done with my conditional formatting. I want 4 different conditional formats on here. So I'm going to keep it selected and keep changing. So this time I'm going to go highlight cell rules between. This time I want to go between 25 and, got to back up here to delete those, and 30, between cell E2 and F2. And this one, I want to do the yellow. So that's overweight, getting in the danger zone there in terms of health. And I say OK. I can scroll up and down here and see it's doing this thing just like I want. These are the underweight, these are the normal, these are overweight. And what's left here actually is the obese. But I'd really like it to turn the obese ones red. So I'm going to continue to have that selected. To highlight cell rules, and now I'm going to go greater than and click that cell and leave it as light red fill with dark red text and say OK. So I've applied 4 conditional formats to this grid here. Now, like I said, if they changed it and said, oh, you can go as low as 15, if I hit enter here, you'll see that all of them become green now because 15, this one's in the 15 range. Let's say it was 16. Was the new guideline. So anything below 16 is getting turned blue, and anything between 16 and 25 is green, 25 to 30 is yellow, and 30 above is red. Or let me change this back to 18 so that it is actually accurate. And I'm just kind of showing you that these are actually acting as parameters on this sheet. I always like to make my parameters red like that. So you got that. Similarly, if the 30 went up to 31, right? So now this 30.2 and 30.7 are no longer red, but the 31.1 is. So those will control how the highlighting goes. The actual values in here are still determined by these values at the top and bottom. So if I change this to, say, 55, and I change this to 1.3, now I'm looking at a different group of people, right? Where they're a significantly shorter people, but still kind of, in the kilogram range of 55 kilograms. So I have a greater number that are falling into the obese category and fewer that are falling into the underweight category and the overweight, etc. So fundamentally, that's how the conditional formatting works. I don't want this lesson to get too long, so I'm actually going to end it. But what we're going to do next is we're going to go back to the free response and multiple choice. Sorry. Sorry about that. Free response and multiple choice. And we're going to have this highlight things that are in the A, B, C, D, and F range. We're going to have 5 different conditional formats that we apply to this. And I'll probably extend it down so it's a little bit bigger, so we make sure we get A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's. Granted, with 75 and 25, you don't get there very quickly. Maybe if we did a 40 and 10, do we have any F's there? No, we still don't. So I'll end up having to copy that down. But anyway, I'm going to end this video right now with our BMI page conditionally formatted. I will talk about errors in conditional formatting in the next lesson as well.